Greg Allman used to say there's as many ways to write a song as there are songs, meaning that it's always different. But a lot of patterns or rules of thumb for me are like,
It's the Blues Rock Show with Pete Francis.
Welcome to the Blues Rock Show. Today, our guest is Warren Haynes. He's got a brand new album coming out, The Whisper Sessions, on September 12th. Warren, how's it going?
good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. So you got The Whisper Sessions coming out September 12th. How did the idea come about for this album?
It was kind of an afterthought. The record was completed, and I was in promotional mode, recording a bunch of videos for promotional purposes, mostly me by myself. But we did a handful with Derek Trucks and myself together. And when I started listening back to some of the recordings, it just dawned on me that it kind of added some insight into the way the songs were written, and meaning before they had turned into full band arrangements and productions. They're kind of the way I would interpret them by myself if I was doing a solo performance, which I do from time to time. So most of the stuff, except the stuff with Derek, I'm just accompanying myself. It's more about my voice and the songs themselves. On the three songs that Derek and I did together, we were able to play a little more guitar and accompany each other. But it's interesting because you hear the songs in a completely different way. So it wasn't something we intended. It just kind of came about organically.
Yeah, and one of those songs that Derek joins you on is Melissa, which closes out the album. Why was this the right format for you to record that song?
Well, again, that was an afterthought. We came there to record Real Love and These Changes. And as we were about to pack up, Derek said, should we do another tune? Should we do like a cover or something? And I was like, what about doing Melissa? And we both thought, well, let's do it once. And if we like it, we'll use it. And if we don't like it, we'll scrap it. And so we wound up liking that version and keeping it.
So it's just one take then?
Yeah, one take. Most of the stuff was one take.
Very cool, very cool. So when you start your writing process, Warren, how does that go?
Every situation is different, I guess. Greg Allman used to say there's as many ways to write a song as there are songs, meaning that it's always different. But a lot of patterns or rules of thumb for me are like, the slower songs tend to start out with a lyric, and the more up-tempo songs tend to start out with some sort of guitar hook or rhythm pattern or something that seems unique. But it's never the same. I'm someone who a lot of times writes the lyrics first and adds the music later. But in the past probably 6 or 8 years, I've been forcing myself to do the opposite, just to shake things up, because writers always want to open new doors and go down new paths. But so it's nice to kind of get out of your comfort zone a little bit. But, a lot of these songs were written post-COVID. And once we got into the COVID lockdown thing, I found myself writing so much music, and I didn't want to write a bunch of COVID-centric songs that I wasn't going to want to hear 5 years down the road. I just kind of made a conscious decision to write about more positive subject matters and about relationships and life and the things that are important. And for me, in a lot of ways, it was filling in the gaps of stuff that I hadn't written about in the past, because another thing writers never want to do is continue to feel like they're writing the same thing, or even about the same thing, or using the same approaches. So from that point forward, I've been kind of exploring songwriting from a few different angles that are fresh to me. And most of these songs are written post COVID. A few were written during the lockdown, but I think it kind of shows a sense of uh, the different way that I've been expressing myself recently.
Yeah, and I know right now you're on tour with Government Mule. Are you currently writing anything for Government Mule?
We're in the starting process of thinking about what kind of record we would like to make. And there's a few little things floating around, but it hasn't gone very far yet. We're sneaking up on it.
Warren, roughly over the years, how many songs do you think you've written that you haven't released?
Well, I think I've written probably 600, over 600 songs, and I've released somewhere between 250 and 300. Uh, so that's a lot.
Yeah.
Some of them exist on demos. Some of them I've never recorded. There are songs that go back decades that I still would love to record but never have. But uh, it's nice to have a few in your back pocket that you feel good about. But usually, when I'm writing for an album, it's nice if the songs have a common theme and are all coming from a similar time period. But I also don't mind shaking it up by putting in something that is completely different. I think every record deserves a few curveballs.
Sure. What keeps you going creatively as a writer?
Uh, I've just been intrigued with songwriting my entire life, and I guess what keeps me going is feeling like you haven't done your best work yet. Like always wanting to strive to at least do something on par with your best stuff that is completely different from anything you've ever done. And so, me being surrounded by so many wonderful musicians and artists and opportunities, that's inspirational as well.
Yeah. Right now, Warren, a lot of people have been talking about AI, the impact that it's having on the music business. What are your thoughts right now as far as AI in music?
Well, it's scary, because we're just now putting our toe in the water, and where it's going to go in the next year, 5 years, 10 years is going to be crazy. I'm not enamored with the way you can just plug a bunch of information into AI and spit out a song. In some cases, it might be really good, but it's soulless at the same time. Songs should be written in a way that reflects heartbreak and emotion and growing pains and lessons learned. In a lot of ways, as a songwriter, I feel writing songs is therapy. It's a way of dealing with your own issues and your own emotions and challenges. And to remove that from the equation just seems pretty bland, to say the least. But as a tool, AI is fantastic. I mean, it's my hope is that there's going to be more positive come from AI than negative. But as with any groundbreaking technology, there's always going to be a lot of bad shit that comes from it.
Yeah, say you had a song maybe that was 80 or 90% complete. Would you think about turning to AI and using it as a tool to maybe get you to the finish line?
I've never thought that at this point. Uh, I would never rule out utilizing something as a tool in the right way, but as of yet, I haven't discovered what that would be from a songwriting standpoint. It's just it doesn't feel uh, natural to me at the moment. It's kind of something I'm allergic to. But I've had to open my mind to a lot of new concepts and technology through the years that you kind of go in kicking and screaming, and eventually you embrace it, at least in some small form. When Pro Tools came on the scene, a lot of musicians were reluctant to utilize it, and rightly so. In the beginning, it didn't sound near as good as analog recording, but through the years, it got better and better and better, and the possibilities from a recording standpoint with Pro Tools and similar software are amazing. So from an editing standpoint, you can get things done that you could never get done in the past. But I think any tool has to be used in moderation. If you use it as the main approach to your work, you just kind of taking the human nature out of it. So we'll see what happens.
Well, yeah, and the other thing with AI is it has to basically feed off of something, and then when you have the AI that's feeding off of the AI, and it just becomes this vicious cycle, I don't think it's going to lead to anywhere great.
Yeah, as I said, it's a bit scary because I've heard some of the songs that were created that way, seen lyrics that were written that way, articles that were written that way, poetry. And there's just something about it that feels creepy. But at the same time, it's from a technological standpoint, it's a major breakthrough, and it is the way of the future. So I don't want to be one of these people that completely resist some new form of technology, but I'm very wary of it.
Warren, I know you stay busy on the road. Have you gotten a chance lately to kind of dig into any music? And if so, what have you been listening to lately?
I'm trying to think if I've heard any new music that I really loved. There's so much old music out there that we've never discovered. So there's a lot of great blues and jazz and soul music and reggae music and folk music that I could never discover a tiny fraction of how much great stuff exists. I'm sure after we get done, I'll think of something new that I'm really enjoying, but at the moment, having trouble.
Warren, obviously you're a great guitar player. In your opinion, what makes a great guitar player?
Well, I think any musician who wants to strive to be the best they can be is looking for their own voice, to be able, the ultimate for any musician or singer, but on musical instruments, it's even harder than it is with your voice, is to sound like yourself in a way that other people can recognize. All my favorite guitar players, when I hear them play, I know who it is right off the bat. And if you could achieve that, that's really the ultimate compliment. But there's 1,000 reasons to play guitar, 1,000 approaches to guitar. There are people that look at the guitar in a completely different way than the way I look at it, and it's all beautiful. There's nothing wrong with any of the approaches, but I think for myself, trying to achieve a situation where somebody knows it's me when I play, that's really important.
Yeah. Well, Warren, this has been really great. I know you have a lot of different projects. Any final thoughts or anything you want to get out there to the fans before we let you go?
I'm glad that we're back out on the road. It's been 30 years, which is really hard for me to believe. Government Mule is releasing some stuff from the archives. We have a version of our first record that's going to come out with a bonus disc of all unreleased outtakes and alternate versions and stuff in the first few years of our recording with Alan Woody and the original trio. There's also a live show from back then that sounds fantastic that I'm looking forward to putting out. Just for me, it's fun to keep doing something different all the time, and that's what keeps me going.
Awesome. Well, Warren, we really appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Nice to talk to you.